yónneen yàgg na woote ngeen gàntoo yónneen yàgg na woote ngeen gàntoo yónneen yàgg na woote ngeen gàntoo yónneen yàgg na woote ngeen gàntoo.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord and Sustainer of the worlds. May peace and blessing be upon the seal of Prophet Muhammad, his family, his followers, and all of those who have engaged themselves to follow his example until the day of judgment. Brothers and sisters in Islam, I greet you with the greeting words of it's an honor and a great privilege for me to deliver this message as we are preparing to celebrate the 144th anniversary of the call, the Islamic call of SEYDINA Imam LAHI al-Mahdi, scheduled on February 10th and 11th. I would like just to recall the message of SEYDINA Imam LAHI al-Mahdi for organizing this program and organizing this platform called LIMAMOU, which means the school of SEYDINA Imam LAHI al-Mahdi, which means that they are well aware of SEYDINA Imam al-Mahdi. Thank also the Khalifa General of the Lion Community, share some of the teachings of SEYDINA. He, after declaring himself as being the messenger of Allah, being the so awaited Mahdi, then he started teaching what Allah has revealed to him, the message he's got for all mankind. Because they have a peaceful, he eradicated social class. He restored a pure and sincere worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he built a strong leadership amongst youth and women. But also, he definitely taught people how they can interact and live all together in a peaceful environment. And we know that our world is really challenged right now with the wars that we have in Ukraine, Gaza, and in many places of the world. A lot of unrest. And this is a message which is definitely needed just like yesterday. Now, dealing with this message of peace, we just said that after restoring this oneness of God through his well-known formula, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, which ended up being the name of his community, Ahlul Lahi, the people of God, the people of La ilaha illallah. Then he promoted peace. But before you can have peace, you need to have justice. You need to live in a just and fair society. Then he eradicated social class. He changed the names of people, because in Africa, especially in Senegal, in our societies, our family names refer to social classes. If your name Bay, if your name Sek, if your name Fad, it refers to a social class. And then he just gave up those family names to give us the name of Allah, saying that there are only two creatures here in this world and in the afterlife, Abdullahi and Aduallah. Is to take the name of their masters. If you go to America during the time of slavery and even right now, many of the names that African American people are having were or are still over names of their masters. But Sayyidina Imam Lahi Mahdi said that Allah being our creator, we are the creatures of Allah, we are the slaves of Allah, so let's just take the name of Allah so that we can be on equal footing to eradicate such a class and to restore justice and fairness in our society, which is also a problem that is definitely being of great concern in our present societies in Africa. Many of the wars, the tribal wars, civil wars, are just because of those ethnic group problems, race problems, and stuff like that. So I think this is a very important teaching that we need to definitely just spend some time. Simply because when you go to the United States of America, when people like Malcolm X wanted to restore their dignity, wanted to get rid of the name of their masters, they took the name X. That's why he's called Malcolm X. His name is Malcolm Little. But this X has the same function as the LAHI, which means that this message of Sayyidina Imam Lahi al-Mahdi is a message that we can take everywhere in the world, especially to restore their dignity. Because I would say that if Malcolm X knew the name LAHI being Allah, he would have not taken X. He would have taken LAHI, because this is definitely what he was trying to look for when he gave up his slave name and adopted this X, because X is just something that is anonymous, which means that, once again, this message is something that we have to share with the world, is a message that we have to make sure that it reaches all mankind, especially black people, because he was first sent as a black prophet. Now, to come back to the message of peace, we would like to just say a few words about leadership. Groundbreaking in those days that the Mahdi was making his call. Because we all know that women and youth were not given a fair share in the society in terms of responsibility. So he came and definitely give leadership to young people and to women in a time where this was really unusual. And for a long time, the Lion community were criticized simply because they would allow their women to go into the mosque. They would allow their women to worship Allah the same way men would do it, to do the zikr. But now, if you look at what is happening around us and in other religious communities, everybody is now following the example of Sayyidina Imam Lahi al-Mahdi, because we all know that we only can have advanced societies if we have advanced women and young people. And this is something that he definitely fostered right at the very outset of his call. Another thing is the restoration of justice and fairness, or justice and equity. We all know that we are dealing with many challenges in our society right now because of injustice and unfairness. And if we want to have peace in our society, we need to make sure that we have justice and fairness. There is no peace without justice. We need justice to have peace at the highest level. And this is one of the key elements of the teaching of Sayyidina Imam Lahi al-Mahdi. Another thing would be the sense of accountability, responsibility. Accountability is something that is really central in the teachings of the Mahdi. And right now we are dealing with accountability issues in our societies. If you look at the sermon of Sayyidina Imam Lahi al-Mahdi, he would start with the family head, with the village head responsibility, up to the head of states. And each and every one of those people, they have an ultimate responsibility. And they will be held accountable by either their families, either their community in the face of Allah, because they did not take responsibility to put them on the straight path. So responsibility is something that is really central in the teachings of Sayyidina Imam LAHI al-Mahdi. And we all know that accountability is one of the subjects that the UN systems and AU and EU and many organizations are promoting, have been promoting over the last 10 or 15 years. But this is something that was taught, that was emphasized long time ago by Sayyidina Imam LAHI al-Mahdi. Another thing that we would like to definitely mention before we close is the culture of nonviolence. We all know the Mahatma Gandhi in India, we know Martin Luther King Jr. in America, but the very first champion of nonviolence is Sayyidina Imam LAHI al-Mahdi, because nonviolence is having a prominent place in the teaching of the Mahdi. When he launched his call, he called people not to fight the jihad, but he called them to fight against their own passions, to fight for good attitude, to fight for good character. So long time before Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Sayyidina Imam LAHI al-Mahdi taught nonviolence to his community. That's why one of the characteristics of the Lion Committee is nonviolence. They are nonviolent people promoting nonviolence and accepting and tolerating any other religious community and any other faith. And this is something that is really important, again, if we want to promote peace. So we would like just to send a message to that are trying to connect to their roots on the continent. And now most of them are using Al-Islam as a bridge. Just said that this message of Sayyidina Imam LAHI al-Mahdi has come to unite all black people. This is a message that is ultimately to unite black people wherever they are on the continent of Africa and in America. Because many of the slaves that were brought to America during the slave trade, many of them are Muslims. They lost their faith. Now, thanks to the DNA test, people are able to trace their roots. That when they trace their tribe and they see that they are a Fula or a Wolof, knowing that the Wolof are Muslims, they don't say that they convert to Islam. They say they revert to Islam. But to what Islam do they have to revert? A black prophet was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the Mahdi, as it was promised to the Ummah that a man will come and reform the religion before the end of time, and his name will be the Mahdi. And that particular Islam that the Mahdi has developed, this interpretation of the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet based on our own reality is the message that we have to share with African people and African American people who are trying to get back to the continent using Al-Islam as a bridge. We know that in the US, we had people they called the Mahdi, but they ended up knowing that they were not the Mahdi. We have Master Farad Muhammad, who was the one who definitely converted the Honorable Elijah Muhammad into Islam. They call him Mustafa Muhammad, the Great Mahdi, but he's not a black man. He's from the subcontinent Asia. And at the time, even the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was called the Mahdi, and they realized he was not the Mahdi. So they are looking for the Mahdi. Now, what is the responsibility of the Lion Committee? What is our responsibility as a community, as people who definitely are entrusted with the mission to spread the message of the Mahdi to those people who has been looking for the Mahdi, waiting for the Mahdi for a long time? So what will happen if they come to realize that the so-awaited Mahdi is a black man and is in Africa? I think these are one of the key questions that we need to try in Africa. He is a prophet for all mankind, especially black people. Because Allah said in the Quran that to every race, a prophet will be sent. Message. Once again, we would like just to emphasize that this message of the Mahdi is a message of peace, a message of responsibility, a message of a strong for definitely arrange for, and also ask people and encourage them to try and learn more about the Lion Committee, because this is not a community of the Lebu people, not for Senegal, but this is the community of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Hadith. So once again, we would like to thank you, and we hope to have other opportunities to share other thoughts and teachings of the Mahdi, and we look forward to definitely having conferences in the United States of America, but also having our people in America come to the continent, especially in Senegal, to come and learn and know more about the message of the Mahdi, because this is the message that is said to be the solution of the problems in this end of times.